Good evening and welcome then to RLH C4 again on F1 2019. Apologies, we're a little behind schedule tonight, but as you can see, we're joining just at the end of qualifying, so just in time to see the cars go away off the line. And as the last minutes of qualifying die out, we'll just try and catch up with things. I don't think anyone's particularly on a lap. I think we've got Dr. Stephen, possibly. We've got quite a few drivers who are now either in the pits or across the line to see the checkered flag. So at the moment it's Brandon, Goon, Dr. Stephen, Renz, Super Bounty, Dopey Man, Monkey Meg, Bogorovsky, Fifi, Pete, Undertaker, Lus, Mr. Herbo. Jay we've lost early on, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there, as Dr. Stephen pits. Renz is going slowly, so yeah, I think we're going to struggle to find anyone improving massively or any major changes to the starting order. We've got the number 66 Haas of Super Bounty looking to gather a couple of extra positions into the final corner, and he's still going. The audio suggests probably not. No, he's backed out of it. So not wanting to start on those tyres and making sure he crosses the line slower than his previous lap and gets out of the way of Bogorovsky, who I don't know if he improved. If he did, I don't think he improved position. He may have improved on the time. But I think then, because Renz we've seen has backed out of it, that is everyone over the line. And in a couple of minutes' time, we will be away on the formation lap. So just check that everything's up and running. I see we've got a couple of viewers already. I'll try and catch up with things. Obviously, like we say, late to proceeding to it, and we're trying to get the stream up so we can see any comments or predictions that you wish to send in. Just waiting for Renz to register as being back in the garage, and then the session will end. So hopefully it won't be too much longer. We shouldn't have to wait for that entire timer to go out. I think it will, unless he retires. It usually decides, yep, there we go. So here we are now then going to be loading into the race session. On board with Bogorovsky as his car makes its way back to the pits. So yeah, there's your results. I think we've been through most of them. Mercedes of Brandon on pole. Decent session for McLaren, up in 3rd and 6th. Disappointing for Alpha, only 10th and 13th. And yeah, Jay Haywood is down there in, well, where is that? 14th. Sorry, the mic's blocking the screen there, so I will sort that out while you wait for the formation lap. Here we go then. That looks very unusual. We've got a bit of a delay on the cars loading onto the screen there, but I think we've got everyone, as a rather smoky looking Alpha of Pete gets underway. I wonder if he had a Grid penalty then, because Hayward, Jay Hayward is, or Joe Hayward, I can't remember his full name, we'll go with Hayward. Yeah, despite taking time, he's lining up 13th. We'll just go to the leaders then, and Brandon leading them around Luffield already, so quite a pacey formation lap here. So yeah, just joining you back there then, as we say, as my chair decides to start creaking. Yeah, as we say, any comments or predictions or anything you'd like to see really or hear of, get those on the comments, and we'll try and go through them as and when they are posted. We'll try and also catch up with a bit of the standings, try and fill you in on the rest of the season and how this will affect proceedings. If we get a chance, we'll see what sort of chaos ensues in the opening laps first. Plenty of action last night in C1 and C3. C2, I believe, is already underway over on the other channel, so yeah, streaming simultaneously. You can take your pick of Category 2 or Category 4 racing tonight. I'd much rather you stay with me, of course, but the Stappen's over there taking you through that C2 racing if that takes your fancy. So as you can see, there's very little time between Goon and Dr. Stephen in qualifying. Will there be that close in the race? We are about to find out, because we've got some lights on the gantry. There's 5 of them, the graphic can't keep up, but we are underway a little bit too early for Mr. Herbo, who gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And we'll try and catch up with things as the camera switches, but Goon leads into turn 2 then, and we've got yellow flags already. Don't want to stay too long away from the leaders, but we've got Undertaker off, and there's bits of front wing everywhere. Back to the front, Goon still leads from your pole sitter Brandon. Third place is Dr. Stephen, who maintains his grid position. Ren's Monkey Meg Dopey Man is dropping down a little bit there because Super Batty's up into 6th place. Fifi, Bogorowski, and Hayward there. Look at that. He qualified, well, didn't set a time in qualifying. He's already up to P10 in amongst all that. So, yeah, good start for him and the Racing Point team, because Monkey Meg's in 5th place as well. So, looking much better for those that pair already. We've got racing behind. Goon's making a bit of a break for it. Dr. Stephen and Brandon are just a couple of tenths apart, and Renz is on the back of that as well. So we saw plenty of 3 and 4 car trains last night. We've got one here already. So through Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. We'll go on board with Dr. Stephen as he sees Brandon kicking up a bit of the dirt on the outside of Chapel there, trying to break the slipstream and going to the left-hand side. We've got more yellow flags. I don't know who that's for. That's Luce, or Luss, who's gone off through that Maggots and Beckett's sequence. And as you can see, Undertaker, yeah, barely any front wing left. Both end plates gone. A lot of curb there for Dr. Stephen. Running a little bit wide. He wants to make sure he doesn't catch that sausage curb and put himself into a spin. But Goon obviously sets the fastest lap on the opening lap as they come through almost flat out through turn 1. Maybe just a little bit of a confidence lift midway through, excuse me. And Ren's, yeah, sitting pretty at the moment. Just watching things pan out ahead of him. But Goon has broken that 1 second barrier to the DRS, which of course comes into play on the next lap around. So we'll try and get some bit of telemetry and a bit more information on the screen for you. So position change will keep on for now. We'll put the gap back to interval. Yeah, why not have some telemetry? Not fussed about that. And we'll go for the map as well. Why not? And Ren's just dropping a little bit behind. Yep, there we go. So Dr. Stephen is still on the back of Brandon, who's dropping even further behind Goon now, and as they a little bit wide there as we come back on board with the McLaren. But he's still going in the right direction, but maybe just dropped a couple of attempts to Brandon. But just staying within that DRS zone at the moment, because that's obviously, yeah, as we say, running a little bit wide there. Lucky to get away with that. Looked rather leery, but yeah, DRS in action this time around, and that might just help him make a move on the Mercedes, because Brandon doesn't have it on Goon, of course. So if he could just gain a tenth or two, he would help himself defending from Dr. Stephen, who is definitely going to get that DRS as we come through. And we've got more yellow flags. Is that loose again? Yeah, he's off again. Yeah, and that's Maggots and Beckett's again then. So I don't know if he's come together with Mr. Herbo, who's also around that part of the track. But yeah, really unfortunately, he's picked up a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Now, that was a spin, so that was a clear time loss. So according to the rules, he may be able to get that revoked, but I'm not sure whether if it's served in the pit stop, that would mean probably not. So that's one for the stewards to possibly have a look at later. But Brandon is closing back in on Goon, who's possibly, yeah, he's in mode 0 now, so he may just have used a bit more ERS to get himself up and running on those opening laps. You can see Brandon's got quite a bit more, 70% as opposed to 30 of Goon. So yeah, he's feeling the pain of that now, because Brandon all of a sudden has mode 3 available to him, mode 1 for Goon, and this could be a move already. A little bit too far behind, but he's definitely looking very racy, and now with him getting the DRS, of course, doesn't have to be worrying too much about Dr. Stephen behind him. But your pole sitter is looking to make that position back and get on his way up the front. We've got a comment on the stream, 1 second. Nicker, are there 10-second stop and goes in the game? I think there is. I don't know. I've never received one, to be honest, so we'll see. But either way, Luce is a long way down after a couple of spins, so yeah, unfortunately, unless there's a couple of DNFs up the front, it's going to be difficult for him to take any points away from Silverstone today. But Brandon now running a little bit wide there, but definitely keeping in touch with Goon. Dr. Stephen with 60% of the ERS left as well. They're all using, or the top three are all using the 0 map for the slower corners there through Luffield, and even now through Copse, yeah, going down all the way down to 0, and keeping it in high or medium for the straight sections, straight back down to the bottom end again, saving as much of the ARS as you can. Obviously, a lot of the lap is spent at full throttle, so it's vital to have that electrical assistance, that additional 160 brake horsepower, and now it could be about to pay off for Dr. Stephen, who, despite Brandon having the DRS, Dr. Stephen got a mega toe. Maybe a little bit different on setup as well. You never know with the respective wing levels of the drivers out there, but Brandon is in a bit of a situation where he needs to get past Goon pretty sharpish, or he's going to be under threat. Well, he's already under threat, but he's going to succumb to the threat of Dr. Stephen if he's not careful. Brandon running right out to the curb through turn 1. And as we slow down for turn 3 and 4, you're not going to try and move into there, but again, it's going to be DRS time as we come onto the Wellington Straight, the old National Straight, of course, down into Brooklands. The left-hander, tricky little corner on this layout of the track anyway. It's probably an easier corner coming from the old bridge complex, but yeah, very late apex. Curves sort of hiding on the inside after a sea of tarmac where the old track is, but Dr. Stephen is just dropping back a little bit, and you can see Renz is just over a second behind, so he's still very much in contention for this. I think he's I'm pretty sure everyone of the leaders, we'll find out, qualified on the, I haven't got more yellow flags. Is that Fifi? Yep, Fifi's had a bit of a spin through Copse by the looks of things. Has he got away without any damage? We'll try and get a off-board camera, but that doesn't look like it. There's a lot of understeer in that car, so I think he's probably missing a front wing. And No, seems to be alright actually. So maybe he's got away with it. Back to the front, we've got Brandon again within half a second of Goon. So yeah, all the leaders are on the softs. Hayward, who started down the back, of course, is the first man on mediums. And I think there's a couple of guys who've pitted already. Excuse me, down the back for damage. So yeah, just 3/10 now between them. Dr. Stephen not close enough this time around, but Brandon very much could be. He's in mode 4, giving it everything. Is he going to make the move? Not quite. Not close enough just yet. Yeah, Goon's done a good job of recycling some of that electrical energy to get himself back up to the mid-40s in terms of percentage. But look at that from Brandon. He's doing a very good job of maintaining that ERS level. And of course, while ever he's in the DRS and the slipstream of Goon, he can save more of that. So it's just a compound effect. The more slipstream you get, the less you have to use the RS, the more you build, and then the closer you get, the more slipstream you get. So at the moment, he can't get much closer without going past him. Goon gets a little bit sideways and tightens up the exit of Chapel. And this, he's not 100% going for it, is he? He's still in mode 2, and oh, he almost ran out of road there. Misjudged the closing speed as Pete picks up a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, almost got caught out there. There's a little bit of lag we're picking up there, but I don't think it was too much of an issue down into Stowe. But Brandon, at some point, I think, before the stop, he's going to have to use that massive amount of ERS and just stick it in overtake for the whole hanger straight and try and see if he can clear Goon and then break the DRS zone again. Because at the moment, Dr. Stephen is back into this battle. We can't really take too much of our eye away from it. We'll try and keep up with things a bit further back where possible. We've got another 3-car battle between involving one of the McLarens as well. McLaren's third in this one as well. And so Monkey, Meg, Super Banty and Dopey Man all have DRS on each other, apart from Monkey Meg obviously up the front. Bogarowski fighting off the advances of Hayward, who is on the mediums, so they'll just about start to be overlapping in terms of performance, I would have thought, around about now, lap 7. The softs will just be starting to feel a bit of pain. And Pete is running by himself. Fifi, we've seen recovering from that spin. Undertaker, Loose and Mr. Herbo have all been involved in incidents, but back to the front then. Goon trying to break the slipstream, it looks like, from Brandon, going tight down the hanger straight, retakes his line before Stowe. And yeah, it's all a bit of a stalemate at the moment. No one wanting to share their hand too early. Feel like we're just calm before the storm, waiting for the stops, and he's gone early. Renz has gone very early, but he picks up a 5-second penalty, so that's going to cost him anything he could possibly gain from the undercut. 37 mile per hour. Speed limit here, of course, much slower at Silverstone. So yeah, that's possibly what's caught him out there. But we'll go back to... Oh, we've got a bit of action going on here. Hopefully we can get a... oh, and a bit of front wing there going from Dopey Man as well. So that's unfortunate. How much is that? And how much is that going to affect his ability to follow Super Bounty and Monkey Meg? It's the left-hand end plate, so that's quite bad. And we're going to go for Super Bounty. Can he make it around the outside? That's going to be very tight, but he's made the move stick on Monkey Meg, who tends to be a very decent driver wheel to wheel. I've commentated on a few of his races now. You never really see him involved in too many incidents of his doing. So yeah, good driving to keep it out of the side of Super Bounty and continue on his way. And with Renz picking up that penalty, there may be a chance for a P4 here for one of these drivers, and who knows what will happen up the front. But at the moment we've got Dr. Stephen right up the gearbox of Brandon, but nowhere to go with it as it stands. Is he going to make the move into Stowe side by side? Brandon leaving the space. They run side by side. Brandon just runs off a little wide there, but that is acceptable track limits in this game, so they continue both on their way and both in the positions they started in there. So Brandon maintains second place as we come round to lap 9 of 26. Still a long way to go. We're pretty much approaching the pit stop window now. So within the next couple of laps I expect to see all three of these and the remaining soft tired runners in. We've only seen Rennes of the sort of normal scheduled stops so far. Fifi's in though. He probably burnt out those tyres a little bit with that high-speed spin at Copse a couple of laps earlier. So he's going through that very slow pit lane as we speak. But yeah, Dr. Stephen. And Brandon's run very wide, and that's going to let Dr. Stephen in on him. He'll get a good exit out there. Just about maintains position. Managed to square the corner off and get a better run. But yeah, if Dr. Stephen had managed to get his nose up the inside, he might not have been so lucky. But it's still less than a second covering the top three. As we come around Maggots and Beckett's one more time. As the temperature builds in these soft tyres towards the end of the stint, this becomes a little bit more of a challenge, keeping the back end in line. I'm going to stay on board with Dr. Stephen. He's got DRS, and Brandon has DRS on Goon as well. Less than half a second now covering the top three as they come into Stowe. And is anyone going to pit? Goon pits, Brandon and Dr. Stephen continue. Oh, and a little bit of contact. Hopefully no damage there. I think they'll get away with it. It was pretty square on the nose rather than any of the end plates. But yeah, just a bit of a warning there for Dr. Stephen that he doesn't want to get too enthusiastic because he's on for a very good result here. And Dopey Man and Bogarowski have both gone at the end of lap 9 as well. Of course, going to the mediums, it's a fairly straightforward strategy if you can avoid the trouble. It's pretty much soft to medium here at Silverstone. And yeah, now with a bit of clear air, Brandon started to just stretch his legs a little bit. 6/10 now is the gap. And Goon, where does he come out in relation to Rennes? Rennes coming through turn 1 now, so yeah, Goon's still got a fair lead over Rennes. Bogarowski, where's he going to slot back in? Dopey Man changed the front wing, didn't he? Yeah, left front wing end plate is back on that, so that's why he's dropped behind the Williams of Bogarowski. So yeah, gaining a place there is Bog. And we'll go back to the front because they're coming round Maggots and Beckett's for another time. And I'm pretty sure we'll see them both in this time around. A couple of comments though. Just catching up with a couple of comments there, but yeah, we got both the leaders in. We just about caught that in time. Dr. Stephen and Brandon. So is Goon going to have a chance to stay in the lead here? In theory, he's been on the fresher tyres a lap sooner, but the undercut is not massively powerful here at Silverstone. Jay Hayward, would you believe it, on the alternate strategy, is now leading despite not setting a time in qualifying. So he's managed to get the racing point all the way up to the front of the pack. Goon coming around the final corner now, and we're looking for Brandon, who is out of the pit lane. This is going to be very tight. Goon coming through turn 1. Can he get up to speed before the Red Bull gets there? How tight is it? Yeah, Brandon's made it clear, but Dr. Stephen has not. So that in lap where he just started to stretch away has worked well for Brandon. So yeah, the clear air after Goon pitted is what worked today. So yeah, an overcut really has worked. I think it did work for a couple of people. C1 was wet last night, but C3 I think the overcut was definitely a decent strategy. The softs hanging on pretty well. But yeah, so now we're sort of back, I believe, to what the order was on the grid, are we not? Brandon, Goon and Dr. Stephen. Of course, we've got the two guys on the alternate strategy up the front that will eventually fall out of position. It's going to be interesting to see where Hayward slots back in, because he's had some pretty decent pace, it would seem, to get all the way up to the front and stay within a pit stop of them. We'll just try and pick that battle. I think it seems to have dispersed with Dopey Man having to change that front wing. Monkey Meg now has dropped 2.3 behind Super Bounty. So the closest battle is still this sort of three-way battle for the net lead of the race, as Mr. Herbo picks up a 3-second time penalty. So yeah, Dr. Stephen less than half a second off Goon still, as Luce has retired from the race. Where's Where's that? Oh, he's retired in the pit lane, so yeah, it's a bit of a disappointing evening for him. And yeah, retiring in the pit lane, I think unfortunately the car is going to continue back out on track. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, which is unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't cause any VSC trouble or anything like that, because we have a battle on our hands now once again, because Dr. Stephen is right on the back of Goon with DRS assistance. Yellow flags still flying, but I think we're clear now. Multi-gamer, let's go Fifi. No idea who you are. If you could drop your name in if we know you, yeah, we'll give you a shout out. But yeah, Goon is at the moment holding track position on Dr. Stephen. They come through Maggots and Beckett's one more time. We've got more yellow flags according to the indicator in the top left. That's the Mercedes still going around as a ghost, unfortunately. So, yeah, DRS, but not using the ERS, so possibly just biding his time. A little bit of contact there. Oh, yeah, quite a lot of contact actually. I don't think he got any damage, but definitely nearly spun the car there, whether it was from the contact or just trying to avoid it. But yeah, Dr. Stephen, unfortunately, just getting a little bit too close, has cost himself about a second and cost himself that crucial DRS assistance as well, of course. So yeah, that's sort of calmed that down for a little while. 2 seconds is the gap to Brandon, who looks to just be pretty comfortable now. P3 at the moment. That will, or should, almost certainly, will become P1 again. Yeah, only 9 seconds or 10 seconds between himself and the racing point of Hayward, who currently leads on 12 lap old mediums. So at the moment it's all pretty much settled down again. Lap 13 of 26, so approaching half distance at the end of this one. And we've got more yellow flags for that Mercedes. Hopefully it will return to the pits. It is technically retired, so not entirely sure why the Ghost would continue running, but you never know with this game. Like it on the comments as well, getting there Fifi. So yeah, good to see a former driver sticking with us for the streams. And Pete has the pumpkin helmet. That is the biggest news of tonight. He has a pumpkin on his head. And he's also got Brandon, who, as we've said, is your net leader, approaching him now within a second. So should get DRS assistance as well. Just avoiding the biggest part of that sausage curve. Sets the fastest lap of the race as well of 1:31.574, which could be crucial come the end of the race. Obviously, any extra points are welcome. 1 point for the fastest lap, of course, providing you finish within the top 10. And I think we're going to see a pretty slam dunk move here. Oh, it's got the outside. Oh, a little bit of contact there in a straight line. Hopefully no incidents that affect the guy who's basically on to win the race at the moment. But yeah, he's through nice and cleanly. What are we on? 14 of 26. I'd say probably another 2 or 3 laps. We might see those medium tyres swapped for a set of softs. But at the moment, Brandon's 6.2 behind Hayward, so plenty of clear air to stretch his legs. Goon catching Pete on 9 lap pressure tyres is probably the next thing to watch out for. We've got Dopey Man on the back of Bogorovsky. Is a battle that's developing quite nicely. Bog keeping it all neat and tidy and within the white lines. Quite a few people do extend the track at Cops, but you don't get away with it just as much as you do at Stowe. But yeah, DRS this time around for Dopey Man, but he's not got much in the way of ERS. He's using the full hot lap mode, so that's interesting. Bog, yeah, not much for him either. Sticking with high all the way around, so not adjusting it quite as much as the leaders were earlier. But yeah, still down to mode 1 for the final couple of corners. Dopey Man switching down for the straight. That's an interesting one. Not seen that before. So lap 15 of 26, and yeah, this could rumble on for quite a while, because with neither of them particularly having a lot of VRS, it sort of takes one tactical element away from it. And we wait a minute, what's been going on here? Dr. Stephen has been ahead of Goon and then back behind him again. So unfortunately we were following the wrong McLaren, it seems, but missed a little bit of action there. They're only 1 second behind Pete still, so I don't think it was necessarily that Goon had an off-track moment, as Dr. Stephen picking up a 3-second time penalty, yeah, going well off the track there, so that could become an issue for him later on. We think Renz still has a penalty to be added for speeding in the pit lane. So Super Bounty and Monkey Meg, if they can stay within certain distances and not pick up too many warnings themselves, they may be on for a good haul of points. As Pete picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. A lot of penalties for speeding in the pit lane. I think that 37 miles per hour is catching a few of them out. I can't remember the exact reason why it is so much slower. Yeah, not entirely sure. I think it's possibly because you cut so much of the final corner that if it was the normal 50 mile per hour speed limit, or is it 50 miles an hour? I think it's 50. It was 62 at one point, I can't remember. Yeah, with the normal speed limit, I think you'd probably gain, well, not lose anywhere near enough time for a pit stop. It'd be a bit like a GT Sport pit stop, where you lose absolutely nothing. So I think that's the reason, and yeah, as we've seen, catching a few drivers out, but Dr. Stephen still within a couple of tenths, and providing he doesn't get too out of shape this time, probably Goon has a bit more ERS than him, but he has a little bit to play with. Already in overtake mode, probably a little bit too early. Should probably be hitting it around about now as you get up to 6th and 7th gear, but he's still going for the move anyway. Goon sort of covers the inside, the middle of the track, but yeah, move done. Dr. Stephen, providing Goon can't go around the outside, he has. Kept it around the outside, has the inside now for Club and Vale. And maintains his 3rd place. Hayward is now in the pits for a set of softs on lap 17, start of lap 17. In and out. Nice clean stop. I didn't see any penalty for him, so I assume he got it down to the speed limit in time, and he drops behind Dopey Man and Bogorovsky. So that's a move that's happened as well, hasn't it? We seem to be missing all the moves, unfortunately, this evening, and we're missing another one as we watch that, because Dr. Stephen has just DRS'd his way past, I assume, into Brooklands. Who knows, if we do a bit more commentary this season, we might occasionally catch one of the overtakes. Excuse me. But Goon now has a little bit more ERS, about 20% more ERS, and will now get the DRS himself, of course. So who knows, down into Stowe, could be looking at a bit of a comeback. Taking a little bit too much curve through the first part of the Maggots and Beckett's. Just tightened the radius of the next part up for him, but Dr. Stephen is just about coming under pressure. There could be a little late move here. Not going for it fully in mode 3. He's going to stick to the inside, but as we saw, that outside's pretty powerful, especially with the fact that you can run it out nice and wide. 5.8 seconds is now the gap to Brandon, with these two battling each other. So yeah, unless something disastrous happens up front, it looks like the Mercedes is on for a decent win here, but Bogorovsky's dropped behind Hayward on those fresh softs, and he could make quite a bit of progress actually. There's not a massive gap to Dopeyman ahead, so you would expect him to clear him fairly soon, and then yeah, 5 seconds of clear air up to his teammate Monkey Meg, and then there's a couple of penalties up there as well, so Hayward could be on for a decent result despite his poor qualifying, or despite not qualifying. Renz is a pretty lonely P4 at the moment, and Goon, yeah, still within the half-second barrier, not really going anywhere with it at the moment. So we'll catch up with a few of the guys further back. Super Bounty in the Haas, still running in 5th place. Monkey Meg we've mentioned. Might go under pressure from his teammate later on, and we're going to watch that now then, because I think we're going to see a move. Breaking news, we are about to see a overtake on screen. It does happen, and we're about to miss one up the front as well. We're going to have to swap. There we go. Going up the inside. DRS into Stowe. So we finally caught that one. I think he'll manage to keep it. Dr. Stephen has no way back into Vale, and we're about to see a move at the same place, I think, but this time on the outside. Haywood goes around. Yeah, Dopamine, nothing he can do to stop him on 7-lap pressure and softer tyres. Soft tyres working well for Haywood, and he took the mediums long enough that they're easily going to have enough life in them. Takes the fastest lap as well on a 1:30.681, I believe that is. So yeah, especially with the lower fuel load and not very long left to go in the race, he should have plenty of performance. As we say, yeah, already just 4.3 behind his teammate. I'd expect that gap to close pretty rapidly. Dr. Stephen, can he do anything to come back at Goon? It pretty much seems that they're swapping the DRS lap after lap, and yeah, and as a result of that, swapping position, Dr. Stephen ring a little bit wide, maybe picking up another warning. Of course, there is penalties in this situation as well to play out, but we'll just go with what we can see on the track and not spend too much time worrying about what's going to happen post-race. At the moment, he's got a good toe, and the DRS, he's going to go for the outside. Can he get his nose ahead? Not quite, but he's going for, well, sticking with that outside line, very wide and sort of off the track, but it's sort of allowing a bit of contact there. That's getting very tight. Just about getting away with it. I don't think he'll do any damage. No, all looks intact. As we see Mr. Herbo back in the pits for, I believe, the second time. Undertaker recovering from that wing change early on. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to pick up any points today. Fifi might just miss out as well. He's 11.1 seconds off Pete Pirate. Although Pete did get a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and I've seen at least one track limits penalty, so who knows, Fifi might just pick up that P10. But all depends on how much Pete takes out of those tyres, because he could increase that gap. It's pretty stable at 11 seconds at the moment, but you'd expect him to probably increase it a little bit. And what have we got going on then? Still this battle for second place. So, once again, Dr. Stephen through Maggots and Beckett's, trying to follow in that dirty air, taking quite a lot of curb. He's up to mode 3. Is he going to venture into overtake mode 4? Not quite. He's going to stick with what he's got. And he's going to try the outside again. Haywood gets a 3-second time penalty, so that could cost him later on. Could cost him to his teammate, actually. We're on lap 20, starting lap 21 of 26. 6 laps to go here at Silverstone, and yeah, that's will be the British round over and done with pretty much before it started. It seems to have gone nowhere. Fifi picks up a penalty, Dr. Stephen picks up another penalty in turn 1, and then bizarrely goes off at turn 2, taking a bit of grass. So yeah, once again for another season, Silverstone has almost been and gone. It's definitely a highlight of the calendar. Always provides us with some great racing, no matter what the conditions. DRS again for Dr. Stephen, but that little mistake in turn 2 has given Goon a bit of a breather. I don't think we've got too much going on for the back. This could get interesting towards the end, actually. Supermat is closed to within 1.2 of Rennes, so a little bit of a Haas-Renault battle there. Possibly developing. He's on 3-lap pressure tyres, so yeah, he should have a bit of an advantage. We've got the 2 racing points, hopefully not any result like Perez and Ocon, despite the fact that Haywood is on much softer, well, 1 step softer and much fresher tyres. So you imagine it would all be fairly clean. I don't think Monkey Meg will have too much to defend with. They've missed another move up the front because Dr. Stephen's gone up the inside once again into Stowe, possibly into Vale for Goon to come back. No, not quite far enough alongside, but he's got time to go yet, and I'm sure he'd like to take the second on the road, but I'm pretty sure he's got less penalties than Dr. Stephen, so he probably will take second anyway, providing he doesn't throw it at the scenery. Like 22 of 26, not long to go now. We see Bogorovsky into the pits. Has he had to, he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. Did he have an incident there? Has he got... Struggling to see from this angle whether he's got front wing damage on there. I would imagine so. He wouldn't really take a scheduled stop this late on, because it's not even like he can go for the fastest lap, because he's going to drop behind Fifi, who now might just pick up, nose change for Bogdan. So Fifi could well be on for a point here. Unfortunately, Bog looks like the guy to miss out. I think he should get out ahead of Undertaker, who's only just coming into the final couple of corners, so he'll get back out in 11th, but yeah, a long way off the points positions, unfortunately. Coon's dropped quite a way back now, actually, 1.2 behind Dr. Stevens, so I don't know if he's just recharging his batteries and cooling things down a little bit. Cooling the tyres, cooling the engine maybe, maybe saving a little bit of fuel. Not entirely sure on the fuel levels, of course. But he might be coming for another attack, or he might just be sitting and waiting for the penalties at the end of the race and staying out of trouble with Dr. Stephen. Bog picks up another penalty. Brandon picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that was through the village complex by the looks of things. So I wonder if he ran a bit too wide out of here. Easily done, but it's quite frustrating when you gain next to nothing and pick up a warning or a penalty like that. But that's how it happens, unfortunately. But I think he should be okay. I don't think he's got anywhere near enough penalties to put the victory in doubt. We've got Super Bounty and Renz, though, in the closing laps, have really come together. A little bit of lag there. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue, because Ren's really having to think about going defensive now. Super Bounty surely can't pull a move off into Cops. It's pretty much flat out in 7th gear. Low on, well, yeah, marginal on fuel for Super Bounty. I'm sure he's got it under control. Neither of them have any ERS left, really. But what they've got, they're going to try and squeeze everything out of now, because it's DRS on Super Bounty. He's going to go left or right. He's going to go for the left-hand side. Ren's, sorry, leaving him that little bit of space, and he's a little bit of contact. I don't know if Ren's lost the rear end. Oh, and a little bit more contact. This is getting a bit too much now, really, but Super Bounty goes through. So yeah, no love lost there, was there? I'm not sure. I think Ren's, he certainly looked to leave a lot of space on the outside of Stowe. I think he probably got a little bit of oversteer mid-corner, which when corrected, kicked him into Super Bounty, and then it all sort of continued with a bit of handbags down into Vale. We've got the 2 racing points now, very close to each other, and yeah, everything up the front seems fairly stable. We've got Renz now once again up the inside. Super Bounty has it for the inside of Luffield. They're definitely not giving each other any quarter here. We've got a back marker, which is one of the alphas. I think that's Pete the Pirate, is it? No, it's Mr. Herbo, staying well out of the way, and he's ghosted actually. Bog sets the fastest lap, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything with it. Of course, it stops someone else picking the point up, providing they don't go any quicker. But I don't see any of these guys on the mediums doing a lap quicker than that. Super Bounty, once again, no ERS left whatsoever. They're draining every last bit, but he's up the inside into Stowe. Is it going to be any cleaner this time around between them? We'll stay on board with Renz. Haywood, I think, could be about to make a move as Super Bounty goes a little bit wide. still has the inside for club, but has to relinquish it. Haywood nowhere he can go either, so he'll have to sit behind his teammate for at least another couple of corners. And yeah, both racing points in close quarters with each other, and Monkey Meg picks up a penalty, so I think that might even out the penalties between them. Super Banty once again up the inside of Renz, who goes a little bit wide, and I think Super Banty will have the DRS. Yep, he does. Rear wing wide open on the Haas, so he has the DRS to pull away from Renz now. Not entirely sure what the penalty situation is between these two, but we'll soon find out, because we are on the penultimate lap, lap 25 of 26. It's gone nowhere really. Very short race time here at Silverstone. I think for a 50% race it's just about 40 minutes. So yeah, very high speed race of course. And Renz, does he have anything to come back with? He has a fair amount more ERS, but he's gone very wide there through the opening part of Maggots, and that's put him off the line for the whole of the rest of the sequence really. He does get DRS, and your leader is now on the final lap then. Brandon 6.5 clear of Dr. Stephen, who's yeah, cleared Goon by 2.7 now, who I think will take that P2 back once the penalties have been applied. Haywood, can he do anything? No, he still can't get past his teammate. As the backmarker ghost of Mr. Herbo approaching him. So are we going to see any changes in the final lap? Renz has dropped a little bit further behind Super Bounty and might struggle to get the DRS now. 9/10 as it stands. I think he'll probably struggle. Haywood will go on board with him in what is probably going to be, well, his second to last attempt. He might get a chance down the hanger straight. Here he goes. Not using much of the ERS. I wonder if he's... Oh, he's still almost getting a chance as Monkey Meg ran a little bit wide. Yeah, neither of them. Bob picks up another penalty. Using all of the ERS, I would have thought this is the time to squeeze every last bit you can out of it. Get it in hot lap even on this final lap. But Brandon lost the lead at the start, dropped behind Goon for the first stint. He did the overcut on him by going a lap longer. Worked out pretty well for him. Well, very well, because he got track position and hasn't looked back since. So the number 24 Mercedes through the final couple of corners, and providing he doesn't do anything embarrassing, he will cross the line to win the British Grand Prix. Brandon, what a drive from him. 6.6 seconds clear of Dr. Stephen, who I think will drop behind Goon as he crosses the line. No, Goon missed it by 4/10. So he just dropped out of range in that final couple of corners. We've got Super Bounty and Renz driving for the line. Side by side, I think Super Bounty's going to take it. And what on earth is going on there? Renz picks up a 5-second penalty. That's the unserved penalty, of course. So that drops him all the way down to 7th. 2 racing points take 5th and 6th. Yeah, not entirely sure what the route was through the final corner there, but Dopey Man goes across the line in 8th. Pete crosses the line, yeah, picks up a 5-second unserved penalty as well in P9. And we're going to see Fifi then come round. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's 14 seconds clear of Bog, so even unless there's some outstanding amount of penalties, he is going to come through to take the final point. Across the line, yep. Picks up a point for Toro Rosso. And Bog is going to be your second to last man to cross the line, because Mr. Herbo was a lap down. Bog for Williams. Yeah, again, another one to pick up a speeding penalty in the pit lane. So yeah, disappointing evening for Williams, and Undertaker is the last man across the line. So that was quite a hectic race. As we said, yeah, always high speed thrills at Silverstone, and a British winner, Brandon, of course. Home win, what more could you want? We didn't get a chance to run through the championship standings. They're all available at Racing League Hub. The results of this race will be added shortly after, later on tonight, most likely. So yeah, feel free to check those out. I think Brandon's doing pretty well at the moment. As you can see, all but Dopey Man and Super Bounty picking up penalties this evening. So yeah, Brandon will run you through the entire result. Brandon, Dr. Stephen, Goon, Super Bounty, Monkey Meg, Jay Hayward coming up from 13th to 6th, Renz in P7, Dopey Man's P8, Pete from 14th from the back of the grid to 9th, Fifi taking the final point for Toro Rosso. Bob just missing out that late incident. Undertaker is the last of your runners to finish on the lead lap. Mr. Herbo finished a lap down and we saw Luce retiring early on. So, no time for interviews from the top 3, I'm afraid. So that will be everything from us here at Silverstone. Yeah, as we've mentioned already, check out the C2 racing and of course yesterday's C1 and C3 for more Silverstone racing. We're off for a week now. Next week is the Nations Cup on Tuesday. I'm not sure if we'll have any racing on the Wednesday, but stay tuned for any possible news on that. Other than that, we'll be back in a couple of weeks for C4, the second half of the C4 season, beginning at Hockenheim. So yeah, for now, from all of us at RLH, it is goodbye.